Hey everybody, this is Matt and you're watching Rednecks. Broke Rednecks. We're coming to you from Spur, Texas, home of the Fighting Bulldogs. What we're going to talk to you about today is something a little bit different. We usually do shooting videos, but being a broke redneck isn't just about shooting, it's about all kinds of rednecky things. And one of them is fishing. Now it's April, weather's warming up, it's getting into some fine days to go out and hit the water. All kinds of water. So what we'd like to do today, for you beginners who would like to take up fishing but don't quite know what to get, is give you a ballpark idea. And for those of you who've been doing it for a while and maybe need to add to your collection or see some suggestions, we'll give you all some ideas too, but how to do it on a budget. Now there's a lot of $20 or $50 fishing challenges out there, and those are fine if you're just going to a park, take the kids out. But if you really want to make this a hobby, you'll at least over time have to spend a little bit more. So what we did is came up with about $100 of stuff we need for each of us to be happy to fish. Different equipment and that sort of thing. Now, of that $100 that we spent roughly, $30 of it is the two things you see in front of you. First, obviously, is a tackle box. This we got at Academy for $19.95 or something, less than 20, slightly. And it's a good, decent, solid tackle box. This is actually a gun case, GunGuard gun case. We got it for $10. Now, I know what you're thinking, fishing in a gun case, right? Well, that's actually where I keep my fishing poles. Because if you've lived for Travis as long as I have, you know you throw fishing poles in the back. The cooler moves around, other stuff, tends to break your fishing poles rather quickly. So what I did, Travis, did you come over here and get a good look? I fly fish, and I do other things. So what I have in here is a Zebco Slingshot fishing rod. This is $9.99 at Walmart. Yes, you can spend more money on a fishing pole, but why? We've got plenty of pictures, and when Travis edits this, he can put a couple in, of us catching really good quality fish using $10 poles. I have seen zero difference in success between a $10 or $20 fishing pole and a $100 or $150 fishing pole. Next thing, again, because I fly fish, I have in here, is my fly rod. This was about $25 at Academy. And again, for the type of stuff, I mean, if you're going saltwater, redfish, fly fishing, or you're going to try to pull a silver salmon out of Alaska, you're going to have to get a better quality. But for anything you're going to do on a daily basis, a $30 fishing pole, this is a Martin, again from Academy, is going to work as well as a $150 one. I've got a few flies in here, and these are just some that I set aside for my own purposes. But these are flies you typically use if you're going after bass or perch or something like that, panfish basically. Now, you're going to need a tackle box. I prefer the harder tackle boxes. I've seen some of the canvas ones. Y'all know if you've watched my gun videos that I prefer something that can take a little bit of a beating before it gets to your stuff. Now, this tackle box, I have one just like it, and so does Travis. We got for exactly $19 at Academy, or $19.95, what it was, less than 20. Anyway, it's not fully stocked because we're keeping this specific to the video. The only thing that we didn't buy as a part of this is this little box, which has some of my flies in it. Now, that'd be a little bit more, but it's for a collection I had when I lived near Houston. I still like them. But you can go to Bass Pro or Academy if you want to fly fish and get some stuff. But give you an idea of something you're going to need in your tackle box. First thing you're going to want to buy is barrel swivels. These are going to cost you $1 or $2 at Walmart. Barrel swivels, you tie the line to one end and the other end allows you to switch out different lures, hooks, that sort of thing. That's really handy if you don't want to waste a lot of time tying a different knot when one lure isn't working. If you're going to be like everybody else and fish for some catfish or use bait, live bait, or something like chicken gizzards, we use a lot, you're going to need some bobbers. Now, you can go with these type. Those are fine. They're more saltwater. They're only going to cost you a couple dollars. You can do what I do. Go with the little tried and true red and white one. Again, a pack of these is a couple dollars at Walmart. You're also going to need some hooks. You can get a package of them for $1 or $2 at Walmart, Academy, anywhere. Hooks aren't very expensive. You can get them in different sizes. We have multiple size hooks depending on what we're fishing for. You're going to want to get yourself some weights. These are 2 ounces. You don't have to go that big, but we're trying to use a saltwater rod to cast out further because we're out at the lake doing our own version of river monsters trying to catch the big cat, you know, that may or may not exist. Anyway, you're probably going to want some different lures, some fairly typical, just everyday use. I'm going to give you some examples of some I think every tackle box should have. This is what's called a top water lure, meaning that it floats on top of the water and you bring it across. It's supposed to look like a frog. This is an Ozark Trail brand we got for $1.97 at Walmart. You can spend more money on these, but I've got just as many fish with the $2 ones as I have with the $6 or $8 ones. You're going to want something, especially in the spring for crappie season. It looks like this, little feather-tailed Dumiflachi. Kind of, you can bounce it around the water a little bit. I like the white ones, but I've also had a lot of luck with green and black, that sort of thing. But you can get a pack of these for $1, again, at most Walmarts. You're going to want something that looks like a crawfish, that isn't very big. The reason I say that is, especially in the southern United States and western, there's a lot of crawfish, and crawfish are a staple of a lot of things' diet. And by that I mean catfish will eat them, crappie, bass, they'll all eat them. So if you're going bass fishing, crappie fishing, I've reeled in both of those with just a good solid everyday crawfish lure. You're going to want at least one thing that looks like a small bass. Notice the black on top, green, yellow, and kind of orange on the bottom. There's a lot of different versions of these, but this is one of those things I have a lot of luck with. Not just this particular lure, but anything with this coloration. And it's because bass are often an apex predator, meaning they'll attack younger bass to resource protect their area. Other fish will also attack younger bass so that little bass doesn't get big and eat them later. Those are two staples. Again, both of those lures were $1.97. They are Ozark Trail. We bought them at Walmart. You're going to want at least, maybe some worms or something that looks like crawfish. This one has been used, as you can tell, or loved, as I like to say. We brought in a lot of fish with these, but you can usually get some worms or crawfish. I like the red ones. You tell me what works for you if you want to comment in the videos, fairly cheaply. I think it was $4 for a pack of about 20 of those, and I've used a bunch up. For a couple dollars, you can get, again, this one's been used because we had to go fishing before we could bring ourselves to make a video, but something that looks like a minnow that's gummy. Not very expensive, 3 of these at Walmart for, I think it was $3. I would also recommend getting some spinners. Now, see if I can pull this out without hooking myself. These little spinners, and I'm going to hold up the bass colored one. These little spinners, you can get these fairly cheaply anywhere. Academy has them like 6 for $10. Walmart has them 5 for $6. And get multiple colors. Don't stick with bass colored everything, even though we've had a lot of success with this spinner. Actually, I caught a fish yesterday on this spinner. Then I had to go fishing and try to get him. Or swimming in that case. But anyway, these things are fairly cheap, but you're going to have a decent amount of success. Now, anybody who fishes bass all the time will tell you, no, you need one of these. Which you probably do. These things are a little more expensive, but again, I buy Ozark Trail. Because the difference between the Ozark Trail brand or some of the other generic brands and the more expensive ones is the brand name. I have very little difference when it comes to success on catching good sized big mouth bass with these. All of these lures, by the way, we have caught fish on. Another little thing I'm going to point out for y'all's edification. I'm going to hold up this lure first. Now, this is just an example of a lure we've had some success with. But a lot of times if you're fishing a small place, think a public pond or a creek under a bridge, you catch something with a lure that looks like this, for example. Well, then you notice after a while you're not catching anything. It's because when you catch that fish, it makes some noise. And this size of lure, the fish know to look for. When you catch something and they quit biting, I always go smaller. And I'm picking this one because it is an exact replica of the first one. It's only smaller. You can literally take this just a couple sizes smaller lure, cast it out on the water, and catch fish in the same spot. Now, that's an example of a few things you need. If you want to toss in something like this for oodle, sock, and crappie, again, there were half dozen of these for a couple dollars. Or if you're fishing for something slightly larger, you know, you can get this thing that's colored sort of like a trout. I like a lot of these that can kind of float but have the little fin on the bottom because you can pull them down in the water and cause them to bounce and make the fishing look a little bit more natural and have some good success. Or you can bring them across the top. But you want to have some lures that are top water, meaning they float. Some of them that look maybe like smaller bugs or the sort of thing that will go in. Something that looks bass colored, something that looks crawfish colored, and some worms. You'll need some decent hooks, some bobbers, and some weights. But depending on what you're fishing for, you can be kind of creative with that. Anyway, like I say, this is just a basic setup. As you figure out what works in your specific area, you can add to it and add more. But, and each of these lures I showed you, we have several of, by the way. We didn't just buy one. But anyway, this is something where for less than $100, you can have a really nice collection that will work pretty much anywhere you're going to fish. Most of what we do is in the southern U.S. and Texas, but I could probably take this tackle box and this collection to, I don't know, upstate New York or the rivers in Kentucky and do just as well. Anyway, this is my 2 cents on what you need. If you're watching this and you have some advice for me, trust me, I'm always open to it. If you know how to catch fish that I don't, please throw it in the comment section. I will be in your debt. Anyway, you're watching Broke Rednecks. Like, subscribe, and if you want to watch our fishing playlist, hit the notification button because, friends, it's summertime and we're going fishing a lot. So every time we update a fishing video, you'll be able to be the first to know. Anyway, thanks for watching. We hope to see you next time.